Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond GIS. Today we're going to talk about revolutionizing your data strategy with the agility and scalability of the cloud. So what is cloud transformation? Simplistically, it's just about moving your data and your tech off legacy monolithic applications and often in-house servers and putting them in the cloud. Essentially, you're renting the space and the compute, the data storage in the cloud. Big providers, Amazon, Azure, Google, of course, all exist to allow this to happen, and then local providers within your city as well. So, what are the benefits of this cloud transformation? Much easier to scale. So your understanding around costs and forward projected costs, and obviously the associated skill sets to maintain and operate this stuff can be somewhat set aside, right? Instead of having to have a whole team of engineers and infrastructure specialists within your building and or contracting them out to manage your own hardware, your own tin. Beyond that though, where I'm most interested, beyond that sort of foundational IaaS, infrastructure as a service concept, is what it means to enhance collaboration and getting more value from data, particularly geospatial data across your organization. So once everything's lifted and shifted into the cloud, something Orbik is very focused on is trying to allow folks to do their heavy processing, their analytical workloads, their artificial intelligence workloads next to the data and close to the data. So often, particularly in geospatial world, because the data is big and grunty and often has specialist tools, most of this work is still happening down on desktops. As soon as you're down on the desktop level, all of a sudden everyone's got the same copy of data across lots of different desktops and multiple versions and multiple types of databases, storages, formats, and very quickly, where is that source of truth across your organization? And how do you then actually enable a data scientist that needs to co-collaborate, for instance, in that geospatial analytical thinking and modeling? How do they come and play party to that? It could be 20 gigabytes of data sitting on someone's C drive that someone's tuning over doing modeling. All of a sudden, it gets quite hard because it's siloed to that desktop and the associated tooling around it. So if we can get a source of truth copied into the cloud, make that data then available to all those that need to co-collaborate and come together to help solve that problem, things start to become very interesting very quickly. And so often people think about the cost of that cloud hosting or that data or that compute in the cloud, but we don't really associate or compare apples to apples, right? So very quickly, if you actually looked beyond that bill or that invoice to that cloud software, and you tried to understand the temporal or the time impact of 5 copies of that data across 5 different desktops with the associated desktop tools and all of the time associated with downloading, managing, resharing, putting it back into the cloud into a shared store to then reshare to everybody else, and then waiting on, we need this version, but this is held up by this person. When you start to look at that impact and that total cost of ownership of that process, then quite likely that cloud bill, that cloud invoice, that projected cloud cost is going to be a lot smaller. You need to look at the total cost of outcome of achieving something in the business. And really that's, to me, what cloud transformation in a simplistic view looks like from a geospatial perspective. Getting the data and the tools in the hands of more folks. The elasticity is really key too. So often geospatial stuff, like other data analysis workloads, comes in projects. And they're quite peaky, For 3 months you might be doing some really heavy modeling. Building some models, AI, geospatial chaining, workflow management, and that could need lots of horsepower and grunt to actually make that come together. So, that enablement of the cloud allows you to elastically scale to that demand, zoom up, do it for 3 months, incur that cost, but then it shrinks back to base, right? And you haven't had to go and procure 5 new desktops or super grunty laptops, which is still substandard compared to the cloud, to allow that workload to actually happen. I guess beyond that, a lot of people forget about time as an element, and time has a cost. So something we talk a lot about, particularly in really big artificial intelligence GeoAI models, is that ability for a customer to weigh time versus the cost versus the accuracy type approach. And for a particular workload, getting the answer, the 80-20 rule, tomorrow is probably far more important potentially for what's trying to be achieved than doing it on a laptop or hardware in the office, which takes 2 weeks to do the comparative thing. And so you could wind it up, have a big peak of elastic resources in the cloud, get the answer really quickly, and all of a sudden you've now got 10 days up your sleeve to actually utilize, make a decision, enhance a process inside the business, rather than waiting for that process. Now, potentially that cost to do the compute was a lot more in that cloud version we just discussed, but actually the benefits are far outweighed by having that answer 10 days earlier. So it's just a consideration to think about. Holistically, we got to understand this stuff and understand the role of the cloud and how it plays into our business processes and change management. We need to think differently, right? It enables new paradigms of thinking within the organization to scale, to think about time differently, and to get the answers into the hands of the folks that need it to make their decisions going forward. It's particularly relevant if you think about a lot of the disaster response type stuff that's going on in the world today. I mean, the thought of thinking about a globally available satellite or synthetic aperture radar data set that could be used for managing a response to a flooding event, for example. I mean, trying to think about downloading gigabytes, terabytes of data, all the associated processing. You could have comms in and out depending on what regions have issues in terms of the, flooding, telcos outage, power outages. I mean, it makes no sense to do that anymore when we can move the compute and the analysis models to where the data's sitting in the cloud. So again, just some key things to think about of what cloud transformation means, but really beyond the infrastructure as a service stuff, what's it actually mean to my business, my workflow, the value my team, my department can offer the business and our customers. So getting started with cloud transformation, particularly if we've got legacy stacks, whether they're a legacy geospatial technology stack or an asset management stack or a CRM, it really doesn't matter. The joy with the cloud is we don't need to eat the elephant all at once, right? We can not do the classic, hey, we have to swap this spatial stack out with this spatial stack, both of which are legacy and old school and ELA licensing and everything else. Actually, we could go, where's a core workload inside our business, which is a challenge to either our existing technology solutions, to the desktop-y type environment we might still have for big data analytics and geospatial analytics, or consequently, it could be a capability thing. We actually just don't have enough resources to keep managing more desktops, more servers in-house. So with that in mind, find a workload and hybridize it. Use cloud technology, use cloud platforms to solve a problem, a identifiable problem inside your business, wrap a project around it and give it a go instead of doing a big swap out. And very quickly, you're going to learn a lot from that. It's a nascent step into the cloud, and it will self-propagate its value off the back of that as the business starts to gain the benefits. And so it doesn't need to be the scary turn one system on here, or turn it off now, turn it on tomorrow. Let's do a failover, crossover, all that stuff. We don't live in that world anymore. We don't need to go there. So find a workload that's particularly challenging, a data set that's annoying to get value out of. A co-collaborative project where there's silos that happen that we need everyone operating around the same data, around the same tool sets, around maybe the same Python methodology for modeling, and give it a go and see how it drives behavior change in the business, but also increases time to value. And the other element beyond a tricky, sticky problem could be, hey, we've got this thing, the data analytics team's done some wicked work. They've incorporated some great geospatial thinking into their sort of workflow, their data pipeline, data ecosystem. It's actually been so successful, we have all this demand. But now we're hamstrung by old legacy technology and software that's limited to named users. And we can't now scale that value out cost effectively to, 1,000 extra users that can now get value from that thing. So again, cloud native thinking, technology platforms come really to the front here, where they can elastically scale to that demand, particularly when coupled with a sort of modern on-demand consumptive model around licensing and subscriptions, instead of being tied to a named user license. This is classic paradigm if you think of ag tech and folks in agricultural, in the agricultural sector as a supplier. I've heard so many stories in this sector about we want to engage with our 10,000 farmers, our customers, our property owners, and we're hamstrung, not by the data, not by our thinking, but actually by the technology and the associated licensing regimes around it. So again, cloud transformation can help here. It's not just about the technology, the elasticity, the scale of value, time, cost, but it's the engagement with far more customers, citizens, stakeholders. And really, the more eyeballs on what you do, the more value in the community. And that's really tangible at that time. So that it allows that democratization, the accessibility to what you're doing and the value you're bringing as an organization, allows you to scale that well beyond your current base of customers in a seamless, cost-effective way. So all our organizations, we've all got scarce resource, right? I mean, money, time, people. So how do we more effectively use our people, our staff in particular? Now, in this day and age, we need to move away from that traditional, let's upgrade our server infrastructure. Let's go from version X to version Y, right? Like if you think about modern technology platforms that have scaled really well, at an infrastructure level, AWS, Azure, of course, but actually, if we think about something like Xero or Harvest for time sheeting or Figma for design work, you don't think about upgrades, they just happen, right? These are modern technology stacks that don't sit in isolation and don't need, what is the modern version of a CD-ROM to upgrade it and go through the pain of an upgrade and associated migration, of which can take many, many months and hundreds of thousands of dollars to upgrade a legacy stack from this version to the next version to stay current. And so many technology leaders I've talked to, they have to do it to stay current, of course, on the software, particularly in the world of cyber and the issues around cybersecurity, but it adds no consequential value to their business. There's nothing really new there. And so that money, the effort, the resources, the humans associated with that traditional maintain my tin, upgrade my software, can be reinvested into the stuff that really matters, which is engaging with your customers, using data to solve problems that really matter inside your business, incorporating geospatial into places that's not inside your business, because you've got more time to think about it and more resources to promote to achieving that inside your organization, instead of keeping the lights on, making sure the server's being upgraded on our annual cycle, whatever that might be. So again, that is a huge benefit of cloud transformation and technology. And we are highly focused at Orbica about helping geospatial workloads and geospatial value move up that value stream so we can get the benefits of cloud transformation that many other technology stacks are already achieving. So here at Orbica, we're focused on helping businesses cloud transform their geospatial workloads inside the business and democratizing access to the stuff to really drive change inside your business and a lot more value through to your customers and stakeholders. So feel free to reach out. We're at the forefront of trying to think about what democratization of geospatial looks like and how it intersects the world of AI and cloud transformation. We're trying to bring all this stuff together to really allow that step change to happen inside business, so our geospatial platforms can permeate value as much as some of the other first-class citizens from an enterprise stack perspective you've likely invested in inside your organization. So reach out, let's have a chat. We're keen to learn more as well and understand what this means to you guys and where your challenges lie. All right, guys, hope that was super helpful today. And look, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks very much.